And we are live. And welcome to the Trash Picture Show, another festive flick stream. But not just me with me and Jen, but with two other fantastic people. First off, Joey Nomad, the legend himself. And secondly, we have the always awesome, fantastic Larry, aka the Horror Cat Dad. And tonight we're talking about 1988, an underrated festive gem called Ernest Saves Christmas. And I love this movie growing up. Um, it was you'd always see it in the video store. It was a mainstay in the video store. And if I'm not mistaken, Jen can confirm this. This was the highest grossing of the Ernest movies. It was
Yep.
the second one to be released. Technically the third because of the Gloombean movie, but this was after Ernest Goes to Camp. And then I think after this you had Ernest Goes to Jail or
Yep.
Ernest Breaks Out of Jail or
Ernest
whatever.
goes to jail. My
Ernest
personal favorite of the
Ernest
Ernest
Goes to
movies.
Jail. But yeah, I like this one, and this one really gets you into the festive spirit. Jen, what's your thoughts on Ernest Saves Christmas? What's your initial thoughts?
I initially like this is one I think, especially we're all around the same age. I think if you're an 80s or 90s kid, this was probably a staple, at least for a while. Of like, yeah, we had Home Alone and some others, but this one is a beloved one too, and that goes to Jim Varney as Ernest. Some people don't know, but if you grew up, he actually did even have a Saturday morning show called Hey Vern, It's Ernest. I remember that's kind of where I did, and he did a bunch of
Oh no, she's frozen.
commercials. And I mean, everybody, he was kind of a pop culture for a while. As crazy as that is to say, he was very popular. Everyone saw him in commercials, and he was just likable. And there was a wholesomeness to him and a goofiness, but it worked. And that's one thing I remember as a kid. Like, no matter who you were talking to, no matter what kind of walk of life, everyone seemed to think Ernest was cool. No one got sick of Ernest. And this movie just kind of does the holiday formula right. It's sweet. It has some funny comedy for the kids. It's just one of those really good feel good Christmas movies that kind of, and especially of if you're a certain age, I think it has a very big nostalgic factor. But again, I think the biggest reason why this works is because Jim Varney. If it had been anyone else, you might have got lost to time, but because it's Jim Varney doing what Jim Varney did so well, it works.
It is. You're dead right, Far. I think this began life as another kind of Santa-esque script. And if you look at the parallels, it actually shares a lot of parallels with Tim Allen's The Santa Claus. But
Yes, it
again,
does.
the spin with Varney, like the cool thing about Ernest is, yes, he's a goofball. Yes, he's a lovable oaf. I think if you wanted to do something in comparison to this side of the pond, he's kind of like your version of Mr. Bean. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
is that a good comparison? Maybe I'm wrong. Joey. Oh, sorry, Jen. Go
No,
on,
no, no.
before I
I was
move
just
forward.
gonna say, like, yeah, except where you guys, Mr. Bean's. I mean, yes, but ours is like Ernest is a redneck. Mr. Bean is just a regular guy, where Ernest isn't a typical American redneck.
The,
So
the, I I do I do I do like the fact Ernest is a redneck. You could see Ernest at the storming of the Capitol thinking it's like some kind of fun fair or something like that. It's like, oh Fern, check it out, Fern. I got my camera and he's recording. Everyone's so excited. Wow. But no, sorry, I shouldn't make that joke. But Joey, what's your thoughts on Ernest Saves Christmas?
Oh, it's a holiday classic now. What it came out, 1988,
mm-hmm.
and like Jen said, Jim Varney was all over the place. I first saw him in the Toyota commercials where he was popping in and out of the commercial and everything, and then I think he was on a Tonight Show because he got so popular with Johnny Carson, and
Mm-hmm.
he always looked like he popped out of Mayberry, the Andy Griffith Show with the hat and the vest and the country accent. He looked like he could have been on Mayberry. But I like the movie. Um, like you said, Martin, it reminds me of the Santa Claus a little bit, and also the Flintstones Christmas episode where Santa Claus got hurt and Fred had to fill in for him. It's kind of the same kind of plot, but this was a very good movie, and Jim Varney he's got a good way about him where you have to like him because he's
Yes.
so friendly and real, and you feel comfortable, and you can see little kids today gravitating towards him because he just had that persona about him that he was just a very likable character, and he was very good in this.
Very well said. I agree.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head there with that, Joey. Because like again, he was just so affable and approachable and likable. Again, like as Jen says, he's a redneck. He's a good old boy, but he's a good old boy with a heart of gold. Like
Yeah.
like as myself and Jen discussed before, there was a time where not all fucking rednecks were shitheels, or not all Republicans were shitheels. There was like a time where there was like people who weren't absolute fucking nutbags. But we won't get into politics. I just think it's funny that like
Let's
you
just
had
wrap it all.
I can still see him at the Capitol. He's like buying flags and shit. But no, Larry, what's your thoughts on this flick?
Um, I mean, it's one that I saw. Yeah, I saw. I probably saw it on cable. I didn't see it in the theater or anything. If I remember correctly, I saw it on Showtime back in the day, and they showed it a lot when it first came out. And I mean, I had already seen Ernest Goes to Camp, and I mean, I love that. And I mean, like Jen said, I used to watch the show on Saturday mornings too, and it's just like
Mhm.
he's it's interesting to have like that sort of character who's so hapless but so genuine and so you know it's almost like he doesn't have a bad bone in his body. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that's a credit to Jim Varney, like as such a good actor of doing that. You know what I mean? I think he just did an amazing job. This movie is still a classic to me. I hadn't seen it in so many years, and then a couple of years back, I introduced it to my stepdaughter, and I mean she loved it then, and she was just like she wanted to see the other Ernest films, so showed her Ernest Scared Stupid. I showed her Ernest Goes to Jail, and like Jen, that one's actually probably my favorite because
Mine
after
too.
this one, I had to go watch it in the theater when it came out, the Ernest Goes to Jail, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was my favorite. But yeah, I think it still holds up pretty well. Um, yeah, I mean, I could say more about it, but I mean, I guess we'll discuss that as time goes on during the stream. But yeah, it's definitely one that it's a classic for sure. I still think it holds up pretty well.
One thing, there's a few elements as well. Again, Jim Varney is like 80% of the reason I love this
Mhm.
movie, but there's some other really good elements.
Hmm.
One of those elements is the opening credits with the vintage kind of Christmas cards or scenic pictures, or the Coca-Cola kind. It's a montage of different imagery, classical kind of Americana Christmas imagery, and it's really fucking gorgeous. Does anyone remember that credit? It just stuck with me how nice it was, and oh, like you're watching, and you're like, wait, this is a fucking Ernest movie, but it's really endearing. Jen, do you remember the credits? Do you know
Yeah,
what I'm
I
talking about?
do. But then, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. And like in all the movies, if you'll remember in Ernest Scared Stupid, they kind of did the same thing, only it was with vintage, kind of creature features and monster movies. That was kind of a motif. And even with the show, no matter what the theme of the show was, that was kind of like a little bit, I guess you'd call it a signature thing. Because I remember whatever the theme was in the show, they would kind of do that too. It was kind of, again, it was much like Jim Varney, very sweet. And it was what Garfield would say, just a nice touch. It was these little nice touches because if we're going to be honest, the movie itself, I mean, we've seen other Christmas stories do this kind of what this is. You can only do a kid's Christmas movie in so many ways. It's Varney and the cast, and our Santa Claus is also really good in this movie as
That
well.
that's
It's the heart. It's where this movie really scores is the heart.
I'm going to go into Santa, but again, I just want. Hey, also, Jesus, I'm a terrible host. Before I forget, hello to Eric. Eric is going to be on Night Watch stream later on. So just fucking if you're after watching this, stop into Night Watch. Night Watch Zone. You also have Kara, the Master of Fear, and we have Kubrick lover Brian is in the chat there. And yeah, no, just fucking awesome people. Thanks for stopping in. Joey, what did you think of the opening credits? Did you like them? Did you think they were too sappy? Do you think they worked for the film?
No, the classic how it used to be like when you were a kid, back when you see the credits like that. And I mean, it's a movie, but it's sappy, but it's a holiday special, and it's supposed to be that way. And it's
Yeah.
Jim Varney, so I mean, I love the credits too. It's just something about when it comes on and what you get the lights off and you get your Christmas lights going. It puts you in a festive mood. It puts you in a good mood to see these kind of credits. And I think they did an outstanding job with this. And this is why this is I'm currently doing a top 10 Christmas movie special on my Facebook page, and this is top 10. But this is they did a great job all throughout this movie. It's a feel good movie. It's the kind of movie that you don't mind putting on for your kids and the rest of your family.
Yeah, it's accessible. I do think once, like Larry, you were discussing it there that yeah, your stepkid now is that bit older. I think what would you guys say is the cutoff point for kind of kids with this movie? As a parent, Larry, what would you say? Like, what would like once they reach over 11? Do you think, or do you think it's subject to the child and their interests?
I think it's to the child, because I
Yeah.
mean, look at me, I'm over 40 and I still enjoy this movie. And but no, like I mean, children today are a lot different. They're gonna be like I introduced her to this 2 years ago. She's gonna be 14 next year, so it's kind of like this year she was kind of like, I don't know if I want to see it, you know. And but we saw it like the last 2 years, that I showed it from 2 years ago. We saw it again last year together, and so I don't know, probably like 12 or 13. That's when I think I think it really depends on the child and where they're at, what interests them, and stuff like that.
Yeah. What did you think of the opening credits, Larry? Did you like them? Did they work for you? Do you think they were a bit weird?
The well, it's what's interesting is I don't until I saw it 2 years ago. I never remembered the opening credits. So when I saw it 2 years ago, I was like, "Holy cow! I didn't remember this is how it started." Or maybe every time I'd catch it because I caught it on cable, on Showtime. So for me, for all I know, it might have been when he was already in the cab, like driving the guy to the airport. Because I remember that part of it. I never remembered the opening credits. So when I saw it, I was like, "Oh wow!" I didn't realize it was like it was that. It was very Christmassy for sure.
Yeah,
I want to
it's
say I think I either read somewhere or heard somewhere that Coca-Cola had like promotion in this or something. That's why they had that.
okay.
I need
That
to double.
explains.
I need to fact check that, but I heard that not too long after I resaw it, and I was like, "Oh wow, that makes sense because it seems like that's Coca Cola's like old school marketing and stuff." So,
The
It has a
but
very
definitely,
Norman Rockwell kind of feel to it.
yeah,
Like it has
yeah.
a very and I think like what you were asking Marty with kids, I know Jake and he'll be 15 and this coming Saturday. And while this one isn't particularly his favorite, he still wanted to watch Ernest Scared Stupid this year. So like, yeah, I think it depends on the kid. But I think what's interesting is again because we're all around the same age. I think this is a movie. If we grew up with it and loved it, it turns you into a kid. It kind of it takes you back to a simpler time and reminds you of that little kid that's still supposed to be in all of us. So I think that's another thing that's kind of magic about these nostalgic movies is even though you can't this is as close as we can get to time traveling back in time is because it kind of evokes the same emotions as when we were kids and it reminds us stuff we probably hadn't thought about in 20, 30 years.
It is, and like you mentioned magic, and the next thing I do want to bring up is essentially another great thing in this movie is Douglas Sale, who played Santa Claus. If I'm not mistaken, I think he got the gig from Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories because he played Santa Claus in that show as well. Now, I just like there's something grandfatherly. Like I've seen some people criticize, oh, he's not a fat, jolly kind of man. It's like, nah, you don't need to be. There's just something very warm and nice about him. I don't know how to explain it, but for me, he is one of my favorite Santa Clauses. Jen, what did you think of Douglas Sale's performance as Santa?
I,
Did you think he worked, or were you
yeah,
for the jolly, more jolly, rotund lad?
no, I kind of, you got to remember, I'm German, Marty, so I also knew about Krampus when I was a kid. So I'm very open to all different kinds of Santas. I mean, Silent Night, Deadly Night. I'm open to Santa raping people. Not on this stream, right? Not on this stream, right, Marty?
Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying, well, you're saying variety. No, I'm very open to all different kinds of Santa Clauses. And I was just thinking, because Jake and I watched the red one last night, because we always do a Saturday night movie night. And like that particular Santa Claus wasn't, a particular, I mean, it little heavy set, but not like a super heavy set. But there was, I think all you really need with a Santa is someone who brings a warmth and a kindness and, maybe a little bit sweeter than most, but not that sappy, unbelievable, just like a little magic. You just need to say a little magic. It doesn't matter what they look like. And this Santa does bring the magic. And there's a heart to it. Again, like I know I keep coming back to this, but it's the heart that really works. And particularly with our Santa Claus, but not too sappy, because there's a scene later on in the movie where Santa punches someone because they don't want him cussing around kids. And that's really cool. It's sweet and it's a little edgy, but it's also very sweet.
It's again, I think Sale was just the right kind of grandfatherly kind of persona, just a real warm kind of thing. And it's cool as well that he wants to retire and he's so dedicated to passing on to who he believes to be the better choice. Joey, what did you think of Douglas Sale as Santa Claus?
Well, I thought I did a really good job. And don't forget, this was Santa Claus as older, and he was kind of down at the end of his road, and he was looking to pass on the mantle to somebody that could replace him. So he didn't have to be this big, fat, jolly guy. But he had the warm personality. He reminded me of Edmund Gwynn from Miracle on 34th Street, the classic version. He kind of
Right.
he kind of reminded me of that Santa Claus. I thought he was perfect. He had the warm voice, he had the warm eyes, and you felt that he cared, especially at the end with the scene with the girl Noelle when he was hugging her and talking nice to her. You felt that the caringness come from him. So I thought he did an excellent job, and I'm an Amazing Stories fan too. So I love the Christmas episode that Spielberg did.
Joey, was that before this or after this? I think that was what got him the gig. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
Amazing Stories was like 84, 85, 86.
Okay,
This was
so
80. This is
yeah,
afterwards.
88. So this is that the Amazing Stories is probably what got him the gig in this.
Yes.
But yeah, no, again, as Joey pointed out, he had just these warm kind of eyes as well, just a very kind of soft kind of features that you could kind of just you could see him being a grandparent, anyone's grandparent, like a generic grandparent. Larry, what did you think of this version of Santa?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I never, the fact that he wasn't fat and jolly and everything. Honestly, I never even thought of that. I was just like, I felt like he, I felt that he was Santa Claus, like he was a great Santa Claus. Just the voice and like Joey was saying, the way he emoted to the children to everything, and it felt genuine. It felt like, man, this guy is this. Are we sure this is not the real Santa Claus? But I never noticed all that stuff like, oh, he's not fat and jolly and stuff like that. I mean, he's like somebody's grandfather. Like you felt for him when there's moments of that, where he's like sad or down or something, down in parts of the movie, and you feel for him. Like when he first, when the one guy has him put in jail or whatever, it's like, oh man. But then even he makes a believer of all of the prisoners, and that
Yeah.
whole scene is hilarious as well.
Mhm.
And they all start defending him and stuff like that. So it's just one of those things where like I think he's probably one of the best iterations of Santa Claus on screen. And I mean, yeah, I think he did a great job.
I think a lot of Christmas movies actually kind of pilfered for like Ernest Saves Christmas isn't renowned as a Christmas classic. I think it is, and I think the rest of you guys think it is. But it's ironic because a lot of movies like the Santa Claus or like Christmas Chronicle with Kurt Russell, they took the premise of Santa being put in jail and kind of fucking befriending all the prisoners, and that's definitely lifted from Ernest Saves Christmas. And again, it's just more people need to see this movie, and more people need to watch this
Yes.
movie. Um,
I mean, just look at Bad Santa. He goes to jail too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but it it'd be funny if this Santa like fucked what was it, the social worker in the back. Never mind. I'll leave that conversation to Jen. Um, but so the movie starts off. He arrives in, is it Orlando or Florida or where the
Orlando. Yeah.
Yeah.
Orlando? He arrives in Orlando, and he crosses paths with Ernest, and I just love, I Christ Almighty, I love the poor bastard that's in the taxi cab. Joey, what's your thoughts on the introduction to Ernest with the fucking poor bastard in the taxi?
It started off. Of course, it's going to start funny with Jim Varney. I thought that was a fun scene, and but the whole movie was just a fun movie, and it starts off really good. And you got to think, if Santa Claus needs Jim Varney, Ernest's help, then he's really in trouble. So
Yes.
Yeah.
so if he's helping him out, but it was really good. The introduction to the girl Noelle, and how all three of them meet after a while, and they join forces together. I like that part too, because she was in the restaurant, and she was skipping out on a meal, and she was going to get in trouble, and she ran, and then when she meets Ernest in the cab, and you see how Ernest warms up, makes her feel at ease, and she's comfortable with him now. Because he was kind of doing like a John Wayne kind of voice after a while too. Hello, little lady, and he's doing that kind of thing. But it was nice to see him put the little girl at ease, and then the three of them teamed up, and it became a team. So I like the way it all started out.
Hey, Jason.
Hi,
Um,
Jason.
Jen, what did you think of the introduction of our three main characters? Did it work? Was it a bit
Oh,
too
it
silly?
totally worked. And like again, like there's things I think that a really good movie, you can appreciate it one way when you're a kid, but like looking back as an adult, you can kind of pick up on things you missed. And as a kid, it was just a funny scene. But now looking back at a 40-something-year-old, what I can appreciate about this is because this kind of forms a family, like a found family. So you have that angle, and you also have like, not, you kind of can be glad for what you do have, because not all of us have families, so they kind of make a family with this. And Ernest loses his job because he doesn't, Santa doesn't have any money, and so he lets him ride for free, and because of that he loses his job. And again, it shows, as a kid you can see, there's the right ways and then there's the right way, and I like that about this movie. But again, I really like that. Now that I'm looking back, you think, oh, this is just a stupid Ernest movie, but actually it has a lot to say. And again, I like the fact that this is a family. You can make family wherever, and if you don't have a family, you can make family, and it might be right in front of you. And that's like something you might have missed as a kid, but now looking back, or am I just way over analyzing like I
No,
usually?
no.
No,
You're not.
there's definitely a good message to it when you watch the film.
Mhm.
I mean, not just that, oh, it's a Christmas film and stuff like that, but no, it's just like the funny thing is, like, the Marty mentions the poor guy that's riding with Ernest. I mean, he goes nuts trying to save a Christmas tree that fell off a truck, you know.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So it's just like, this movie is just that it's not just you believe that he still believes in Santa Claus. When you were
Yeah.
talking about, like, oh, this is Santa Claus. At first he's like, really, but then like right away he's like, oh, this is Santa Claus. and it's just like from there he's gun ho through the whole movie. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the message is like to me the message is never stop like believing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
like
kind of humanity, and like also being good to your fellow
Yeah,
man, like, like even if they're not, whether they're Santa Claus or the poor schlub on the street, we all should, help when we can. And that's like, and that's a childish message, but I think us adults need to remember too, because I think we can get more out of it as adults than we can as kids, because we get so cynical. Life makes us cynical, things make us bitter, and it's these kind of movies that kind of, I think that's what I really appreciate, is it kind of touches your inner child, not in that way, but not in the kind of, let's call the cops way, but in a good way.
the,
well,
the
well, even then, like you were talking about how like when she first jumps in the cab and she's all kind of like weirded out by these two older guys, you know.
Mhm.
And Ernest, I mean, he's him being like a weirdo and silly and everything. He's trying to put her at ease, but you could still see it in her face, like she's like, "Oh no, maybe I got into the wrong cab," you know.
Yeah,
I
So
exactly.
I I like the fact as well. Santa can see he can see the goodness in Ernest. He can see deep down Ernest is a good soul, even though Ernest is chucking a Christmas tree through the back door, breaking the back window of the fucking cab, and Santa's like, "Well, I guess I guess I hitched my wagon to this horse." But it's nice. It's cool. Um, the whole Ernest and Santa teaming up with a young girl, though, I don't know if they remade that, would that fly today? Just like, could Marty and Doc, could you have a teenage kid hanging around with a fucking scientist in his late 50s? Would that float nowadays, or would people be like, me
I'd be
too?
fine with it, but I'm the wrong person to ask.
I mean, they technically they did it with Rick and Morty, right? And it's the same thing
Well, they made him
with the cartoon, right?
grandfather though, yeah, I suppose. But I again, I the mission Santa is on is to find his replacement. So he has to find a guy called Joey Cruthers, played by Oliver Clark, and Joey's manager. Joey's an actor, right? And his manager Marty is played by Robert Lazar, a man who already fucked up someone else's Christmas. He fucked up John McClane's Christmas by telling him to make balls of his toes and walk on the carpet. So it's the same guy. It's played by the same guy from Die Hard, and in this he plays a really shitty manager uh, of um of uh, of of Joe. What did you think of the whole character of Joe? I think that was the weakest part. And the guy, like, he was a children's television host, but he just felt very bland. He just like, you're getting this guy to replace you, Santa? Come on. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh. Larry, what did you think of the character of Joe? Do you think he was not down to the actor? I just think he might have been just he could have been given a bit more character development.
Well, yeah, I think I don't know if he was the weakest. I mean, I think he did pretty good. I like the and where you say he's bland, I can kind of see that because you look at this guy and even he was like me. You want me to be Santa Claus,
Hmm.
you know? Like he didn't believe it, you know. So it just kind of I think he played
Man,
the role of a very like an average guy that just like killed
okay,
children, you know.
yeah.
And I kind of like the fact that he, like he shaved his beard off and he's like, "Oh, why'd you shave your beard?" and this and that. And then like he couldn't say the bad word when he was filming like he was
With the
about to kill
kid.
the monster or whatever. He
Yeah.
couldn't cuss, because he doesn't cuss around children. And yeah, I mean, I think he did a pretty good job, And then at the end, I do feel like when he did become Santa, it was kind of a little anticlimactic, a little bit. I feel like probably because everything else that had been already happening up to that point, like all of a sudden he just became Santa Claus. Maybe that was I don't know.
I like. You know what, Larry? You've made me kind of reevaluate. Then again, maybe you didn't want to put a persona, too much of a bubbly persona, onto a character who would have to mutate or change into Santa. Um, Joey, what did you think of Joe, the character of Joe? Do you think he was a good character, or do you think he could have done with a bit more development, or what do you think?
Oh, I thought he did a good job too. I mean, don't forget, you can't have. You had Ernest; he's over the top actor, so he's an
Yeah.
over the top character, and then you got Santa Claus himself. So you had to have somebody be kind of normalish, the average Joe. No pun, but he was the average guy, and he was you can tell he had he was a children's host, so he children's show host, so he was kind of low key, kind of but nice guy. So and then when he picked him, he was kind of like surprised that it was going to be him. But I thought at the end he did a good job when they wanted Ernest, because Ernest was kind of depressed because they thought his job was done, and he was walking away with his hands in his pocket, and he says, "I think we need another driver." And then I thought that scene was pretty good when Ernest got all happy that he could drive Santa Claus. And so I thought he did a nice job. Again, you had to have somebody be the average guy. You can't have everybody be over the top. You had Ernest, who's over the top no matter what, Santa Claus, and then the girl who's a kid and she's cute, and so you had to have somebody be the average guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adult in the room.
Jed, what did you think of our kind of replacement Santa? What did you think of the character?
I pretty much, I'm not stealing from you, Joey, but I pretty much would say the same thing Joey said. You have Jim Varney. You can't, if you're any good, you're not going to try to upstage Jim Varney. So you have that. And then you had Santa Claus, and, he was like the adult in the room, and he was supposed to be kind of the more, not bland, but the more quieter character, because, he does do some sweet things in this movie, and stuff. And the fact he didn't want to cuss in front of kids, although how did he would turn down, a holiday slasher movie. I mean, I'd be like, sorry, kids, I want to go kill some bimbos for the holidays. That would be, I could never be Santa, because I would be like, Hollywood and slashers would be way more fulfilling to me than, making children happy. But that's just me personally. But he was fine. Like I said, I think we needed someone that was kind of the adult in the room. Again, like you have Jim Varney, so, and if you're smart, you're not going to try to upstage or outshine, because you're going to lose every time.
Yeah, well, I mean, to kind of piggyback off what you all said, I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, you had the comic relief with Jim Varney, you had the wholesome Santa Claus, obviously, and you had the street smart, wise character, the kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had somebody that was just grounded, the average Joe.
If
So
he'd
if you
been
really
any
think,
more over the top, it probably wouldn't have worked as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's like if even the girl, I mean, yeah, she had some funny wisecracking lines here or there, but it wasn't anything that was going to outshine the comic relief.
Yeah.
And she still had that sweetness that kind of like that you see when Santa Claus she realizes that it's Santa Claus, and that's later on, we'll talk about it later on, but stuff like that. So I feel like all the elements were perfect, and I feel like the Joe, the guy that does become Santa Claus, I think he had to be that grounded in reality, just your average day, everyday guy,
Yeah, I agree.
Actually, bringing up, this is my favorite scene. I want to get your opinion on it, and it's Kara's as well. The scene with Vern. Oh my God, that was and again, that's Jen. That's a throwback to the commercials, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show.
What did you think, Joey? What did you think of that scene where he turned up with the tree, and it goes into the POV shot, and the door slams, and your one's like, "I thought you said he's friend." Vern's just a kidder. What did you think of that? What did you think of that scene, Joey?
That's kind of like Jim Varney. That's his shtick. That's kind of like him at his best. That's how he got famous for doing those kind of skits and stuff like that. So I thought that was funny too. I mean, Jim Varney is just so over the top and funny and likable. He's gonna steal scenes no matter what. So I thought that scene was a lot of fun too. And like I said, I remember him from the Toyota commercials, and he would do those same kind of skits and everything, and that's kind of put him on the map. So this was his bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, it's a good thing Ernest is likable because he makes shit of that poor bastard's house. I mean, he's pulling fucking lights out of the wall. He's pulling fixtures, pipes. It's like he demolishes that house in a small amount of time. And I like you. The girl goes in with him, and she's like, "Okay, I guess these guys are friends. He's probably okay with him." Oh my god, Larry, what did you think of that scene?
Oh, I love it. It's hilarious. I mean, even before that, when he's walking up, like I think it's when they're driving, or he says like apparently Vern is like an astrophysicist or something like that. He's like something super like.
Mhm.
If you go back and listen to that part, I was like, what? And then the other thing is this is the only time any film where Vern's in the film. Like
Mhm.
Yeah,
he's not in any of the other ones. And I think kind of even beyond that, I think why the whole Vern thing is it resonates is because if you really think about it, looking at it now, going back to like those commercials, the show, Vern is us.
Yeah, we're Vern.
It's almost like he's talking straight at us, like
Yeah.
because he's looking right at you, and he's like it's almost like he's talking to you. And I think
Yep.
that's why everybody loved him so much because it's like, oh, Ernest, he's my friend, he's talking to me, like because a lot of the stuff, if you really think about it, it's kind of we all have that one friend who's like real silly and like kind of hapless and clumsy and all that stuff. And I don't know, I just that whole scene is hilarious. I just love the way he tries to go in the door and then he slams it in his face and then he just barges in like right after
yeah.
with the tree.
Hey, Dice.
Hi, Dice.
Dice says this is the Ernest film I've seen more than that. Yeah, again, it's so good. I look, I Ernest is likable. I'd love to be friends with Ernest, but if he came into my apartment and started doing that, I'd grab him by the denim jacket and fuck him out the window. I swear to God. Jen, what did you think of that scene? Did you like that scene? Did you think it was?
Oh, I loved it. And it is. It's basically kind of like a little treat, like if you'd been there with the commercials or the TV show or the other movie. I mean, it's fan service. And as Larry Bay was dead right. I mean, the Vern is us. I mean, this is deeply meta if you think about it. I mean, Vern really is us. And it was just it was kind of like a little something to throw to the real fan, the real true fans, the real Ernest. It separates the phony Ernest from the true Ernest fans. I really enjoyed it. It just like again, this just really works. And if I don't know many people, especially of the time, that didn't fucking love Ernest, and we all knew Vern. And like you said, hell, you have a Vern that wants to fuck you, Marty, basically.
Jesus Christ Almighty! Oh, did Jen? I'm
I
not.
mean, let me have relations. I'm sorry, it's Christmas.
Jen's like, put this on, babe, and it's like a fucking denim jacket, a fucking tan baseball cap.
You
What the
could rock it, Marty. You could rock it.
fuck?
I'll get a little one for your penis too. Like I'll get a little
Well,
baseball cap
Jesus
for your penis.
Christ! You fucking yeah. I'll have to be fucking sick a couple more weeks to fucking reach poor old Jim Varney's weight. Uh, um, actually, what we were discussing earlier on, you guys were saying that like we had a bunch of zany characters in it, and that's why Joe wasn't over the top. There's two fantastic characters that are they nearly surpass Ernest. He still goes ahead of him, but Chuck and Bobby. I
Oh
fucking
yeah.
love Chuck and Bobby. It's like, what do you think it is? Hungarian goats. So fucking, it's like, no. Eh, it's weird. They switched out the characters. Like they appeared almost as much as Ernest in the series. I think they appeared in maybe 3 movies. I know they appeared in fucking Ernest Goes to Jail,
And
but
scared stupid.
one of them appeared in Scared Stupid, and then the other one appeared in something else. But yeah, what Jen, Chuck and Bobby, do you think they took
Oh,
away from Ernest, or do you think They were a nice little companion piece to the
Oh, I
character.
loved. I mean, you can't have one without the other. I fucking love them, and they were so much fun. Again, they were basic. They weren't being played by Jim Varney, of course, but I loved. They were almost like all of Ernest's side characters, which I loved just as much as actual Ernest himself. They were just such fun side characters, and they fit so well in the samey world. And I like it. It wasn't an Ernest till they pop up, kind of like erections. I mean, it just wasn't quite the same until they popped up.
Jesus.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to be good. It's Christmas, darling.
Yes, it's called "'Tis the Season to Be Jolly," not "'Tis the Season to Be Horny." Anyway,
What's the difference?
oh, never mind. Um,
Well, for what's his name, for Bobby, the only Ernest film he didn't come out in was Goes to Camp.
mhm.
Yeah.
Chuck was the only one that came out in that one, but he came out in Jail, obviously this one, and then Scared Stupid he did come out in as well.
What
And,
about Africa?
No, I don't think they were in Africa. There was one where Ernest went to college or high school.
Yeah,
and-
Ernest Goes to School. He's in that one too.
yeah,
Yeah.
And the army. There was one where he went into the army, right? That was the last
yeah,
one.
but they were two different characters. They were two other different kind of guys. I always imagined that wouldn't be fun. Larry, what do you think if you replaced Harry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Kotto on Alien with these two guys? Just instead of Brett and Parker, you had Chuck and Bobby on the
Oh man, that'd be funny. I like. I guess the Yaphet Kotto would be Chuck, and Bobby would be right, but he wouldn't say anything. No, I think that'd be hilarious. I just don't. Maybe that'd be the spoof. I mean, how do you
Yeah.
kill them off? You know?
Fucking, they're looking at the xenomorph. It's obviously some kind of Portuguese duck. What? It's a Portuguese sea lion. What the fuck are you on about? Larry, what did you think of Chuck and Bobby?
Oh man, they were great. I just like when they start hearing the noises and then like you see it break through and they're all freaking out and then all of a sudden they're just like, after a while they're just like whatever, you know. At towards the end when the reindeer are on the ceiling, they're just there like, oh, they call the pet, they call the
Animal
animal
control.
yeah, and they come in, they're just like, you know, they're like whatever, like it's like just another day after like what, a couple hours.
The hoof comes through the crate.
Mhm.
I think Bobby just fires off the fire extinguisher.
I will say my favorite, I guess their shtick or their characters is in Ernest Goes to Jail as the security
Yes.
guards.
Joey, Chuck and Bobby, are they almost as good as Ernest? Are they kind of just, are they good foil, or what you think?
I'll agree with Jen. They're good companions for him. They're I don't think anybody upstages Jim Varney, but they're close. They're a good team, and they're at their best when they're together. So, but I don't think they upstage Jim Varney. Jim Varney's Jim Varney. So, but I like Chuck and Bobby.
The Chuck and Bobby are cool.
They're very much like Penn and Teller.
Yes.
Yes.
They are.
Yes,
You
good
know,
point.
they're very much like an off Penn and Teller, but I mean they do something totally different in my opinion. I mean, obviously Bobby is like, you know, just, he's quiet. You know, you hear him talking and goes to jail, but I mean they both are, you know, they both are great. And what's cool about them is, or what's good about their characters, I think that they don't upstage Ernest, because even they get a point to where they're like just
Yeah.
you know, they get like, okay, well, whatever, you know. But Ernest is always on, like he's
Mhm.
always on. Like even when he's like acting at the end where he's like sad because he has nothing to do, it's still like he's still doing it like in a silly, like a little, like a kid, you know, like a kid would.
Mhm.
I think it was on Cecil's Good Bad Flicks. I was the inspiration behind the characters was Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah. You
From
could tell.
what I gathered. I'm just gonna, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna because we might have someone else joining us. Copy. But yeah, Jen, do you think that there is something more unique than just Ernest with this movie, or do you think Ernest kind of helps this kind of stand among other Christmas movies?
Yeah, the magic of this movie is Ernest. I mean, and it's not just I mean, it's funny, and there are some really funny scenes. It's not the funny, it's the heart, because again, he could be a character that could be very easily you could get easily exasperated with, but there's no badness to him. There's no I think he is the eternal child in us all. You know, that wide-eyed little kid that that's all, no matter what life's done, that it's always inside us, and I think that's why no one can really hate the Ernest character. We can get frustrated with the Ernest character, but that's why there's this lovableness to him. But it's his magic, and it's Jim Varney's magic that makes this movie work as well as it does. And of course, the great comedic timing as well. I mean, and it's also very magical. I mean, the scene with the reindeer. I mean, in any great Christmas movie, you got to have a magical scene with the reindeer, and it's both funny, but it's also very heartwarming. And again, I think I get more out of this now than I did when I was a kid, just because it takes me back. I feel like that little, before, well, I was always a pervert, but you know what I mean. As innocent as Jen could have ever been, I feel pure when I watch this movie, or as pure as I could.
Dice just said something really nice and pointed there. Ernest doesn't have an ounce of malevolence in his soul.
Yes.
He doesn't.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And I think, and it's genuine. You can see some actors that, do it, but, there's a part. And I think Jim Varney, that was it. I think Jim Varney wasn't, in some ways, he wasn't too far off from Ernest. Now, he was a very sharp guy. He was a classically trained actor. And I think he had a lot more to offer than just the Ernest thing. But I think in some ways, him and Ernest weren't so different. I think he had a lot of heart as well. And I think that's why it was believable, because he wasn't really acting. That was a part of himself that he was just highlighting, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. For such a big and problematic and corporation, one thing I will give Disney is they looked after Varney. He was in a lot of Touchstone Picture movies. He was in that. He was in, I think, the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yep.
He was Slinky Dog. And he done the opening to, I think, the extension on Splash Mountain, or maybe Space Mountain. I'm not sure. He does a promotional video. Ironically, this movie was the first movie to be shot on the Disney studio, the Walt Disney Studios lot, or not the studios lot, the lot on the actual Disneyland. There was oh Christ, there was a kind of fake lot where people visiting Disneyland could look at like how movies are made, and this was shot there. And up until I think 20 or maybe 2013, it's either 2003 or 2013, they still had the sets from Ernest Save Christmas in Disneyland. You could have gone in, you could go into the houses and everything. And hang on a minute. Is that Trench?
Hi, Trench.
Trenchy? Trench? Hey, Trench. What was I going to say? Dude, what's your thoughts on Ernest Saves Christmas?
I rewatched this one recently, and I really liked this one.
What do you think makes it stand above other Christmas movies?
I don't know about other Christmas, but I think the thing that really works about this one is just like, especially for an Ernest movie, because I've only seen this in Scared Stupid, and I really like Scared Stupid, but I feel like with this one, it just has more going for it. Like, there's different characters. Like you got the Santa Claus character who's really good. You got the actor who's kind of having a moral kind of dilemma. You have the girl. It's like there's a lot. I don't know. This I feel like there's a lot more going on in this one. It just kind of works, and the Santa Claus actor is fucking perfect.
Yeah, he is.
He kills it.
He is brilliant. But I'm trying to think. Is there, Jen? Have you a favorite scene from this movie?
Yeah, I like the opening scene kind of because it establishes that, yeah, we're going to have heart, but we're also going to have zaniness. But again, you know me, Marty. And even as a kid, I never I like heart, but I don't like sappy, or I don't. One thing I can respect for this movie is it doesn't talk down to its audience. It doesn't talk down to the kids, and it's one that parents can enjoy too. And that's a hard mixture where you can actually have something that both parents can enjoy, but kids can get something out of and get a sweetness out of without going to that over sentimental bullshit, which I fucking hate. I'm the type of person that finds whimsy in incestual Christmas cookies. So even as a kid, I was a bit of a cynic, and even I'm like, this is a sweet one. And I think that's what I appreciate it the most, is even someone like me who's not the biggest Christmas person goes, yeah, this one's all right, this one's sweet, and I don't feel it's talking down to its audience, which I appreciate.
Okay. Joey, what about yourself? Have you a favorite scene or moment in the movie, or thing that kind of stands out for you?
I kind of like the ending a lot when Ernest gets to drive the replacement Santa Claus around, and the elves are in the back, and I like that because something about when I was a kid, and Christmas Eve, and you believed in Santa Claus, and you knew Santa was coming to your house, and you would look at the window, and you would try to see the sleigh going by your house if you could. That's a magical thing you have when you're a kid, and once you lose that, it's gone. You don't have that ever again. But when you have that, I think it's a great thing, and for Ernest to get into that sleigh and help the replacement Santa to drive around the world, whatever. I thought that was so sweet, and I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's nice as well that Santa's like, okay, I've traveled in the fucking taxi with this guy, but I'm going to let him ride my sleigh as well. I'm going to let him drive the
What's the
sleigh.
worst that can happen?
Yeah. Hello, Rob's Vintage Video. Larry, what's your favorite scene?
Oh man, there's so many. There's I like the part where he's playing the snake handler.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's one of my favorites.
It's a horror
again,
picture.
Yeah. I like the again, I mentioned it earlier, the part where he's where he goes to break him out of jail, and he's playing that I guess
Snooty.
the snooty,
Yeah.
character, and all the other guys are the prisoners are like, he is Santa Claus, and they all got his back, if you don't want to mess with Santa's gang. I mean, there's a bunch of good ones. I mean, we talked about it a little while ago, that whole where he trashes Vern's house. I mean, that part's just absolutely hilarious.
Fucking cool.
I mean, there's so many. It's just hard to pick one. I mean, I do love that scene though with the snake wrangler, and then you see Santa under there
That's a python. This is fucking his real fucking shit kicker dialect.
yeah,
Trench.
and then they actually put the snakes in there.
Yeah, he gets bitten. Trench, have you a favorite scene from this movie?
But there's a couple I really like I do really like the snake handler scene. I like the opening where he's being chased by the guys around the airport, but there's one scene I like, a very small scene where they're all coming, at the end of the movie, they're all arriving, and the girl arrives, and Santa goes up to her, and he's like, I always knew you were coming, I never doubt you were coming, and he's like, well, I doubted a little bit, and I'm like, oh shit, I thought that was great. It's like, that was just, I really like how they did that.
Yeah. That's what I mean about this movie, because, like, yeah, it gives you hope and optimism, but there's a touch of realism where it doesn't go too far out of bounds into sappiness. Like that's something, like your parent, you want to always think the goodness of the kids and stuff, but there's always that back in your mind, like maybe not, and that's.
Like he is Santa Claus, but at the same time, he's a realistic Santa Claus. It's
exactly. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he even makes mistakes, and I like that.
Yeah.
Even when he gives when he gave all that real money to some kid instead of the play money.
Yeah.
And he realized, like, oh well, I guess there's some kid over here is gonna have like a really happy Christmas. Just stuff like that. Like, I mean, I don't know. He did a great job as Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Again, that's something that would not fly today. Mommy, an old man gave me a couple of grand. Where did he touch you? Where did he touch you? Like,
well, Marty is like, I mean,
Jen.
I'm just saying, I'd be like, okay, how many thousands are we talking, Santa? And how much do I have to take off? Like,
oh, thank God. You know what? The guys are right. It's worse when I mute her.
Expensive guys. Did you mute me?
No, babe. Why would I do that?
I'm not saying a little kid now. I'm not a sicko or anything, but if you want to give your family a nice Christmas, I mean, just saying.
Yes, we
kids gotta eat, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Groceries are going up, as we were talking about earlier. Groceries are going up. You got to do what you got to do. And I'm not, not kids or nothing, but, teenagers after a certain thing, it's your own life.
Jesus H. Christ. Where's that?
Just saying, Marty. Again, we're being realistic, right?
How did I get these stomach issues again? I'll never fucking know.
I don't know, darling. The doctor said you needed to cut out stress, and I've been trying to do that.
Oh, Jesus. But yeah, okay. One last question, and I'll leave it for an open forum then for a bit. Larry, why do you think this isn't as big as, say, the likes of the Santa Claus or Miracle on 34th Street or the likes? Why do you think it hasn't garnered the same kind of classic status among the masses?
I just think that I think it was just oversaturation and stuff that was way bigger at the time. I mean, you got Christmas Vacation. It came out after, and Home Alone came out after. But I feel like just so much stuff was going on Christmas wise that it's just kind of. I felt like this one wasn't even. I felt like this one wasn't even big when it came out. Like I said, I saw it when it was on cable, and I feel like right now it's like the only true Ernest like purists like love this film. Like it's like a cult classic to certain people. It's like when Thanksgiving comes around, like, oh, there's no real Thanksgiving movies, and then people say Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, and I'm like one of the few people that's like Dutch. Nobody?
Yeah, no, thank you. I was thinking it. Thank you.
I feel like this falls into that category. I feel like everybody forgets about that film, and I feel like this one too. At the same time, the sad thing is the fact that he had passed away. If he was still around, I still think he'd be doing. People would still know Ernest. I think he'd be doing it in different form. But he would still be doing it.
I'd love to hear what Ernest would have to say about today's world. I would love to hear what Ernest had to say. What, like, if he woke up now and was like, "Oh my God."
I just seriously, Jen, I just see him at January 6th looking at like some fucking looking at a Nazi flag going, look at all these windmills on these flags. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool, Bert? He's there with an iPhone. He's like
no, Ernest would probably still have a flip phone.
Exactly.
I still think he'd be like, because I mean, you saw even in some of his other films where he does like his technology and it's all like gears and like all this weird stuff, kind of like Pee Wee Herman, and in Pee Wee's house, where it's just all these
Yeah.
like little functioning things. I don't know. I
You,
felt like Ernest would still be more analog than digital.
you
Yeah,
just see
exactly.
him crowd surfing on a riot shield. Wow! Check me out, Bird. Jesus
We're
Christ.
going into interesting times, people. We're going into interesting times.
Joey, why do you think that this isn't? Are you on the? Would you agree with Larry, or have you your own take on why this mightn't have been considered a Christmas classic?
Because there's so many Christmas classics. I think Miracle on 34th Street is one of the greatest holiday specials of all time. And you got a Christmas Story, you got Jingle All the Way, and those were and Jingle All the Way wasn't kindly received by the critics, but the fans loved it. I actually like Ernest Saves Christmas better than Home Alone. I was never a Home Alone fan. I know a lot of people love Home Alone. That movie annoys me. So I actually like this. I like this movie better than Home Alone. But I mean, Ernest was so popular though. When I was younger though, he was everywhere. Everybody knew who Jim Varney was. Sadly, you say Jim Varney. Who? They don't know him. It's like he kind of faded away into obscurity. I mean, unless you're our age and a little bit older, you know who he is still. But the Ernest movies, I mean, when I was younger, they were popular. People loved them. They couldn't wait to watch them, and they were renting them on VHS at the video stores, and like Larry said, watching them on Showtime and HBO. So I don't know why it should be more popular than what it is.
Yeah, there is a whole slew of other Christmas movies that were kind of posted. Like one half of the 80s, after a certain point, I think 89 to 1990 to the 90s, a lot of movies kind of they're the Christmas classics. But before that, you had the likes of Prancer, and you had
Yeah.
the likes of fucking the Santa Claus movie with Dudley Moore and John Lithgow, and like that's vanished into obscurity. And they were pop. I mean, there was McDonald's. You could get the coloring book for that Santa Claus movie at McDonald's. I remember there was time you couldn't go into any kind of secondhand shop. You call them Goodwills and stuff, but there'd always be an annual for that Santa Claus movie, and that just fucking faded into obscurity. But it seems like after a certain point, say to 89 to the 90s, that's when movies had staying power, but a lot before that didn't. And I think Ernest fell into that kind of trap. Jen, what do you think?
I actually, yes, on one hand, I'm kind of sad that, yeah, because unless you're like Joey was saying, unless you're our age or a little older, you probably don't know who Jim, and it shows. You're the younger generation. It fucking shows you don't know who Jim Varney is or Hayford is, and shame on you fucking people. But on another hand, it's kind of cool because I love some of our big name, more popular properties, but to me it's always the movies that certain people will know them, but like I like the movies that are not necessarily underground but are as talked about, because sometimes I find those are just as good if not better than your Home Alones or like A Christmas Story or what have you. There's something a little magical, and there's always that high of someone who missed out on it when they were our age, or showing it to a kid or someone you care about and getting to see it for the first time. And if they get it, there's kind of a magicalness that, like with a Home Alone, everybody, even kids of today, know that. And so there's a downside to things of not knowing about it. But I also think it's kind of cool that it's kind of a little bit more, if you know kind of thing. And I think that's where Ernest should be, because you're kind of be cool if you know who Ernest is. I don't fucking care. It's cool to like Ernest. It might have not been cool, but it's fucking cool to be a Hayvern kind of guy, or to see him dress up in drag in some of his other characters. There's just something magical. So there's a part of me that I kind of like that not everyone knows about it, that it's not as I'm sad that it's not celebrated, but it's also kind of cool. And it's kind of a test. You can look at someone, and if they don't bring it up, you're like, okay, you're one of those people. And then if they bring it up, you're like, okay, you're pretty good people. It's a good test.
The only other thing I could say, maybe why it didn't hit back then, because you had 2 other Christmas movies before and after. In the same month, you had Scrooge like a couple weeks later with Bill
Yeah.
But
Murray.
sadly, people don't even know that one. Some again, it's kind of like Ernest. That one's even kind of going into obscurity somewhat. Sad to
Yeah,
say.
somewhat. I mean,
Somewhat.
I feel like the night the reindeer died is a little bit more infamous than the actual movie.
Yeah.
And then I would say the biggest Christmas film of all time, Die Hard, came out that year.
88. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that is a Christmas movie. Anyone who says it isn't should be shot for communism.
yes.
Uh,
I feel like in Christmas by that time everybody's watching that on VHS.
yeah.
And then you got Gremlins too. You got Gremlins
Yeah.
too as well.
Sure.
Another
Yeah.
one.
Trench, why do you think this movie isn't as well regarded as other Christmas classics?
I'm trying to it's hard because I do think it's good enough to be regarded. I don't know. I think maybe Ernest was a very much a product of his time. Because growing up, I know there was a whole franchise. I only knew about the horror one and the Christmas one. I didn't know about like the Goes to Jail and all that or the TV show. I just knew there's these two holiday movies that star the same person. Like so it might be a niche thing. Like I kind of put Ernest with like Pee Wee Herman and all them. Like they were kind of products of their time, but at the same time, Pee Wee Herman had like a Tim Burton to like boost them up and give them like more attention with the movie. So it might be because this movie is like pretty low key, but that's kind of why it's good. But it might be just because Ernest was just very much a product of his time and just never really caught on.
Well, it's like
But it's a shame.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why like if you look at it now, like what I was saying before, I mean, if he was still around, I think he'd still be doing it. I
Yeah.
mean, perfect example of Ira.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, Elvira was just doing commercials, and then she had her show, almost like I mean, almost pretty much the same. She was doing commercials. She had her show, and she did her first film. And if for her not keeping up with it throughout the years, like that's why everybody knows her, everybody loves her, because it's just like she's not going to be forgotten at all because of what she's been that character for so long.
Lads, I gotta say, I genuinely think that Elvira Cassandra Peterson has dabbled in witchcraft, because that woman, for being in her 70s, looks fucking phenomenal.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that to be lecherous, babe. I'm just saying, for
No,
a woman
you're
in her
right.
70s, she looks
She doesn't.
fucking
She doesn't.
amazing.
She doesn't change. It's
Yeah.
amazing how she can look like that.
Yeah, it's
I think her and Deneen Moore, I think, might have drank the same. I think it might have been a death becomes her kind of situation. I think they must have drank from the same kind of thing.
I got a question exclusively for Larry and Joey. I'm not trying, but Larry, Joey, if you could get a fully articulated fucking Ernest action figure, would you want one? Would you want
Yeah.
one with multiple heads and expressions and stuff? And
Mhm.
Larry, what company would you want NECA to make it, or would you want someone else to make it?
Yeah, I would go with NECA. McFarlane would probably make it into a statue.
Yeah, fucking McFarlane. Joey, what about yourself? Would you get an Ernest action figure if they made one?
Oh, sure. I mean, NECA's the hot company right now, of course. Then, but I would also like a Amigo figure of Ernest. We with the movable, the cap and the vest and everything, and or maybe you can even pull a string and you hear, you know what I mean, Vern, and you have all that stuff coming out. So I would definitely buy it because I mean, even though maybe people today don't know who he is, I think he's very iconic. I think more people should know who he is. I think his movie should be played on Christmas, like A Christmas Story and Jingle All the Way and A Wonderful Life. They should play this one on Christmas for everybody to see it.
Also, I because Jen was telling me about it. I watched A Christmas Story, and Does anyone else want to kick Peter Billingsley as a child in the face? There's just something about him that's just like I just want to kick him in the face.
Well, I mean, hot take. I mean, I'm in the minority. I don't like that movie.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't like A
it's
Christmas Story.
weird.
It's annoying. It's so annoying to me. And I maybe it's because TBS used to show it like 24 hours.
They still do.
Like, well, there you go. Like, I mean, although the odd thing is they'll play Seinfeld for 24 hours. I think around Thanksgiving, and I could watch that no problem. But for whatever reason, Christmas Story, I can't get into it. I never. The only thing the only part that I thought was funny was it's fragile.
Ah,
The lamp.
Yeah.
the leg, the fucking leg lamp. I never got the attraction to that movie, so I watched
Wow,
it. And then
I'm shocked. That's I mean, Darren McGavin, Kolchak, the Night Stalker, plays the father on that, and Peter Billingsley was the kid from the Hershey Quick commercials, Messy Marvin. He would make the mess with the Quick and the milk and everything. But I think I like A Christmas Story way better than Home Alone because it kind of is like the kids, their friends, and they're listening to the radio show, and when he's trying to decode the Orphan Annie thing, and all it says is drink your Ovaltine, he gets disappointed, and having the bullies at school, and the kid getting his tongue stuck to the flagpole. I mean, I love that movie.
Yeah,
J-
I like it enough, but I think it's kind of been overplayed. Like when I like it used to be like my family's like favorite Christmas movie. They play it every year. It's a good movie, but it's very much just been overdone. And I don't think it's as rewatchable as even like an Ernest Saves Christmas or like some of the other Christmas movies, like a Gremlins or a Christmas Vacation, or movies. I just don't think. Maybe it does for some people, but I do notice a lot of people have kind of been like, we're kind of over it because it was just played so much.
Jen, what's your thoughts on Christmas Story? Actually,
Christmas Story. I apologize. I was having issues with my internet. I like A Christmas Story. I actually came not super late to the party, but I think I was like 12 or 13 before I actually saw A Christmas Story. I don't know how I went that long with my life, but I didn't see it till I was like 12 or 13. It's fine. It's not I enjoy it. It's cute, but I remember I grew up in the days of TBS, and I remember like they would play like 24 hours, 48 hours of A Christmas Story. And it got a little bit overkill for me. Like it was like, okay, I need a break I remember there's a few years where I was like, I need a break from this. Cool movie, but it just was a little oversaturated when I finally did discover it.
that is mental that you've a channel that plays that non-fucking stop. It's like Jesus fuck.
I mean, it's a good movie, but a little overkill.
I will say this. What's interesting is that have y'all seen that 8-Bit Christmas?
No,
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
It's basically A Christmas Story, but like instead it's a Nintendo, and it's modern. Well, not modern. It's in the 80s.
wait.
Really
Actually, I think Peter Billingsley is playing an adult trying to get the fucking thing for his kids. Is it?
no. It's what's his name? The dad is Oh my god, why am I blanking
What's
on his
he in?
name? He's in That Thing You Do. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's in Saving Silverman. Steve Zahn. Zan.
Oh, Steve Zahn.
Oh,
Steve
okay,
Zahn.
Steve Zahn. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the dad, and he's like 80s dad. He's like, oh, we're not gonna buy you that because it's like violent and all this stuff. So basically it's an adventure of the kid trying to get a Nintendo. Him and his friends, they try like all these different ways to get a Nintendo, and then it's basically the kid as an adult. He's telling the story to his daughter of how he got a Nintendo, and the dad is, I guess, the dad telling the story is Neil Patrick Harris.
Ah,
And
Nice.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
like it's happening in the 80s and stuff. I think it's on HBO, but it's funny. It's pretty good. It's pretty much like A Christmas Story, because there's the bullies, there's like the stuff that they have to do to try to get, like, in their case, a Nintendo where he wants the BB gun in A Christmas Story. So it's like, and then you got the two parents that are kind of like hapless and funny as well.
Very cool. I'll give it a check out. Is it weird that have you guys seen A Summer Story, which is it was made, I think, in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was A Christmas Story, the same characters, but it was set in summer. With Charles Grodin. I actually like it better. It's sweet. If you haven't ever gotten a chance, check it out. It's not the same. It's the same characters, but different actors.
Oh, I like Charles Grodin too. I like him.
Yeah, I think it's called A Summer. I think I've got it in my VHS. 1 second, guys, because not very many people know about it, and it's nothing great, but it's a sweet story. I think I have it. I think I found it. 1 sec, guys. Sorry about this.
Joey, do you have any Christmas movie that doesn't get enough attention that you think people need to check out?
I don't know. The ones I watch now, they're so popular. Like Jingle All the Way. I love that one. Christmas Story. Then I watch a lot of the Rankin and Bass. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, The Year Without a Santa Claus with the Heat Miser and the Cold Miser. That great song. I love that stuff.
Trench loves that song. Trench can sing a rendition of that song with his eyes closed. Oh, and on a minute, Chad, I'm just gonna solo layout.
Just to show y'all I'm not crazy. Yeah, it's real sweet. Different actors, but it's a real Mary Steenburgen's in it as the mom. I actually prefer this over the actual Christmas Story. It's set in summertime, it's real sweet. If you get it, check it out. It's a sweet one. I think you guys would dig it.
Oh, check that out.
Yeah, it's from 94. Wow, I don't remember that one.
I didn't either. I ran across it, but it was sweet. It was a very sweet story. I ran across it when I was a teenager. I think HBO played it occasionally. I was like, oh, it's not bad. I like it.
I have one obscure Christmas movie, thanks to Trench. I love this movie. I always check it out. And it's Trenchy that introduced me to this movie. It's called Unaccompanied Minors. And it's about a bunch of kids who get trapped at an airport on Christmas Eve. It's really, really good. Thanks again, Trench, for showing me that movie. That's a brilliant movie.
That's my favorite Christmas movie.
I only came about. I came across that one like that same year that I showed my daughter the Ernest Saves Christmas, and it's also got the kid from Bad Santa.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's got
I hate Chris.
Yeah, Chris Rock's kind of younger self, and it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie.
Pretty good. Another great Christmas one obviously is Batman Returns.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We done that last year for Festive Flicks. What did we do last year? We done that.
Oh wait, we're not talking about the best Christmas movie of all time, darling. My favorite Christmas movie.
You go for it.
It would be Black Christmas 2006, the remake, but not that remake. And because I'm a different type of Christmas person, and oh my God, if there is nothing such as a heartwarming scene as a son who takes his dead mother's corpse, gets Christmas cookie cutters, inserts them into her back, inserts the flesh into a piping hot oven, and then eats her cookies, literally and figuratively. And he had a child with his mother who's his sister-daughter. It's a fucking heartwarming Christmas story of the ages and my personal favorite.
Tra la 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 la.
No, seriously, it's my favorite Christmas movie.
It is.
It's really good.
We done that, and we done It's a Wonderful Life, which is only a Christmas movie in the last 20 minutes and bombed at the box office because the movie was made very close post World War II. And you can imagine some GI who came back and the movie said, goodwill to all men. Yes, tell that to the fucking crowd. I fucking bayoneted to death in fucking the Verdun. It's
And
like,
maybe
Jesus,
if Donna Reed had fixed herself up just a wee bit better.
Jesus Christ, she was not that. I did think it was funny though. It's like, oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Your wife, she never got married and works in the library as an old maid, as if it's a fate worse than death. Come here, guys. I'm going to round it off here though. But before I do,
Well, hang on a second,
Oh,
Martin. I just
Go.
I just thought of a movie that's a Christmas obscure. It's by Laurel and Hardy. It's got two names: March of the Wooden Soldiers and Babes in Toyland.
Oh,
That's a Yeah, it's a great Christmas movie. They don't play it as much as they used to. When I was a kid in New York, they played on WPIX 11, and I used to look forward to that. But it was just it's a great fantasy movie, and it's a lot of fun. But March of the Wooden Soldiers, that's one of my favorite ones. I just thought of that now. Sorry.
no,
No,
that's
you're okay. You're
I hadn't
okay.
thought about that in a long time. And you're
It-
right, they don't play it anymore hardly.
Yeah.
Did anyone, Larry? Did you want to mention another one there? Were you about to jump in with another title there as well? Actually,
well, I was gonna say, like, what are, for everybody on the panel and even people in the chat, like, what are your top 5 like Christmas films of all time, or ones that you have to watch every year? At least 5.
Die Hard for me, and
Is that
let's see.
where does that rank on the 1 through 5?
I'd probably put it at 1 because I love Die Hard, and it's not it is a Christmas movie. Now, I've gotten into an argument with Trenchy about this. I consider Die Hard a Christmas movie. I don't consider Lethal Weapon a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie, even if it's not eggnog.
No, look, the thing is, right? Christmas is the driving force for the events of Die Hard. It is not the driving force for the events in Lethal Weapon.
But the franchise Lethal Weapon is about Riggs letting go of his anger and sadness and becoming part of a family. If that's not a Christmas message, I don't know what is.
But the thing is, the only reason
You open
McLean
your can
is
of worms, Larry.
the only reason McLean is at the party, it's a Christmas party. The only reason the fucking terrorists are, never mind. We'll just agree to
That's
disagree.
what someone from Minnesota would say, Marty.
And Riggs is suicidal, and people get suicidal on Christmas.
That's
It makes
true.
sense.
Jesus Christ.
Trenchy's right.
Aye. But yeah, no, definitely for me, definitely Die Hard, a brilliant kind of multinational movie called Je suis Noel. It's an American, Scottish, German production, and it's about the World War One armistice. It's really good. I put that at number 2. Gremlins would probably be number 3. What else? What else? What else? Santa's Sleighs with Goldberg. I love that fucking movie.
Yes, I
love
need
that
to see
movie
that
too.
one, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I want to
love
see
that.
it.
You got to check it out, Larry. And what else? What else? What else?
It's not
Um,
streaming anywhere. That's a problem. Every year I've been trying to look for it and I never find it. It's like, I think it's on right now. It's on Stars or something.
arr, 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 arr. That's fucking. You could try finding it through other means. Arr, arr, matey.
Yeah, I
Um,
know, but it's just like I don't think about it. I just go like, oh, if it's not streaming anywhere.
what about you, Larry? What's some of your favorite quintessential Christmas movies?
Oh man, that's easy.
You, you,
Number 1
you.
is Christmas Vacation. Number
Yeah.
2 is Die Hard. Number 3 is Bad Santa.
Yeah.
Number 4, I mean, number 4 and 5, I kind of flip flop back and forth. I do. I mean, Ernest Saves Christmas is on there, so it's either 4 or 5 for that one. Like I said, it flip flops all the time, but I mean, the other one is definitely Scrooged.
Yeah, Scrooge is great.
But 1 is
Um,
definitely Christmas Vacation. I mean, that movie I have to watch multiple times for Christmas, like in the holiday season, and Bad Santa, I gotta watch it all the time. And oddly enough, even though Die Hard's my number 2, like I only watch it like once a year, or I
It's
watch it at least once in the holiday season. But Bad Santa, man, that's another one I can just I can watch it over and over again. Same with Christmas
Yeah.
Vacation.
no good piece of shit, monkey shit, fucking brain fuck. Hallelujah. Where's the goddamn Tylenol? Joey, what about yourself? Have you top Christmas movies you gotta watch?
Yeah, same ones for me. A Christmas Story is my number one. I love that movie. I know people don't here like it, but A Christmas Story is number one. I got Die Hard 2, Miracle on 34th Street 3, March of the Wooden Soldiers 4, and I love Jingle All the Way with Schwarzenegger. I get that
Put
at
that
5.
cookie
It's it's
down.
it's definitely in my top 10 because I do like Jingle All. Oddly enough, like when I was younger, I liked it, and then I got annoyed by it. But I like as I've gotten older, I love it. I love it again. It's definitely in my top 10.
Phil Hartman cracks me up in that movie. He goes, "I got it safe, nestled under the tree." I love that.
I got his weeks ago. It's nestled safely under our tree, and then you hear it in his head.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Oh boy.
And then when the deer or the reindeer destroys the house, like Balthazar.
Put that cookie down now.
It's like, these cookies. I have to get the recipe from Liz.
Dredge, what about you? What's your quintessential Christmas movies?
I don't really have the set ones I watch every year because it's just kind of switchy. But there's a few that pop up, like the Grinch, the original cartoon, always kind of works its way in there. Emmett Otter's Doug Bad Christmas always kind of works its way in there because that one's nostalgic for me. I grew up with that one. I try to watch Company Miners because that's just my favorite one to watch around Christmas. Gremlins is one. Like you guys said, Jingle All the Way is a classic. I don't get to that one every year, but I do really like that one. And a lot of the Rankin Bass stuff, especially Frosty, because I love Frosty in the insane sequels and remakes. That shit's a rabbit hole, and it's amazing.
I do. If I had to say the Rankin Bass, it would be the Rudolph. That one's my favorite.
The Rankin Bass stuff is good.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, those are classic. I mean, I mentioned earlier, Batman Returns. That's in my top 10. It's like, for me, American Psycho is a Christmas movie. I think it's a Christmas movie. I mean, it's happening at Christmas and it ends on after Christmas. So to me, it's a Christmas movie. But I mean, that's one I can see people like. It's not a Christmas movie, but that one's in my top 10. Those are definitely my favorite 5. That I love Jingle All the Way. That one's a good one. It's in my top 10.
Y'all are some sick people. I love when he finds what he thinks is a bomb. Y'all are some sick people. I love that.
There's some sick people in this world.
I have a friend. We were out about 2 years back, and I have a friend. I'm not going to mention their name. And everyone was discussing their favorite Christmas movie. I was like, "What's your favorite Christmas movie?" Do Eyes Wide Shut. I'm like,
Yes!
"What? Eyes Wide Shut." And I was like,
Yeah.
"What's very Christmassy about it?" I don't know, but fucking Nicole Kidman has a magnificent bush. I'm like, that's great, man, but that has nothing to do with Christmas. Jen, what about you?
Yeah, it does, kind of. I mean, it is technically a Christmas movie. You're not wrong. They're not wrong, whoever it was. It wasn't me, was it, Marty?
No. That's a subtle movie for you, babe. What are your favorites, babe?
They're gonna be a lot of horror, but I will talk about a couple of like Christmas TV specials. Actually, not TV specials, but kids Christmas cartoon specials. Of course, I can't get away from the Garfield special because I'm a basic bitch and I'm an 80s basic bitch. So of course, the Garfield special is one of my favorites. But another one that doesn't get talked about, I think it came out in the 90s. Everyone remembers the Frosty the Snowman, but they made a sequel called Return of Frosty.
Yes!
I love that one. And they like are doing fake snow. No one ever talks about it, but I really fucking love that one as a kid.
Well, that's part of all the insane sequels they made, like where Frosty got a wife, or where Frosty and Rudolph tried to have Christmas in July, or the remake where Frosty shows up the kids' windows at night and lures them into the forest to play with him because they live in a totalitarian society. But nobody talks about those Frosty movies.
Frenchie,
Yeah.
you're after reminding me of a funny story involving myself and my friends when we were drunk. We decided to steal a ceramic Santa and kind of just wave him in front of the windows of the neighbor's house. And apparently, to one of our neighbors, she was an elderly racist woman. She called the guards and said that there was some Polish-looking gentleman looking through her window, trying to look at her naked. And it was like, what the fuck? Sorry, yeah, but that's why we never messed with another fucking. I remember so much fucking mad shit. Do you know what? I'm the thing I miss the most. And oh my god, I am a stereotype. The thing I miss the most, and the thing I'm gonna miss the most this year, with Christmas is not drinking. Is because some of the shit we got up to. One of my friends got pissed drunk in our bar, Brandon's, right? And Brandon's is next door to a church, the cathedral, the main church in town. And he was too pissed and too lazy to go home. So he went into the manger, fucked out baby Jesus, fucked out Joseph, fucked out
Not literally, not like Serbian film, right?
No. Just threw them all out. And this was Christmas Eve, Jen. This was fucking Christmas Eve. He climbed in, fell asleep in the manger, and again, the primary church in town, people coming to fucking mass in the morning, and there he is, sprawled out in the fucking manger. They're like, what the fuck? Yeah.
It's a miracle.
It's a Christmas.
Exactly.
But
Jesus
Barry,
is grown.
Barry, if you're listening to this, man, you're a fucking legend for that. It was he didn't give a shit. He got up. I think his pants were down as well. He just fucking got up and just fucking strolled home. And yeah, Jesus, I miss drinking on Christmas. Anyway, sorry, that's a stereotype. I'm not helping. But yeah, with that, guys, I'm going to round it up here. But Joey Nomad, is there anything on social media you want to plug, or anything? Are you playing it cool for the moment?
I'm just playing it cool. I'm still on my little hiatus break. I'm on Facebook posting, Instagram, and and then whenever me and you do stuff, I come on here, and that's good enough for me right now.
And if you're on Instagram, check out Joey's fucking Instagram because it kicks arse.
I gotta thank Larry. Larry's always sending me these cool things on Instagram. I finally got you here now. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no,
Good, man.
Larry's a legend. Make sure though, guys, you check out Joey's Insta. Speaking of Larry, any figure reviews at the moment, and any coming out that you want to plug or promote?
I've been traveling. I just got back today, so I got a ton of stuff that I got to open up and review. I got a ton of stuff I got to open up. I also got a ton of stuff that I got to review that haven't been opened up. I'm in to, I guess, give you all a preview of something. It's just like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I don't know if you see that big box right there.
Ooh.
I'll just solo layout.
Oh, nice.
This one here, yeah.
That is a mystery horror box from NECA. So
Ooh, lucky dog.
we'll see. I've been seeing pictures online with people's, and I don't know. It's kind of scary. So I'm gonna do a video of unboxing that, like, and get my legit reaction to see if I'm gonna be like horrified or if I'm gonna be like, oh, it's a winner, you know. But beyond that, I right now it's just trying to get back into it and see. I'm doing reviews here and there. Like, I think the last one I did was the Ghostface Inferno, and so yeah, just keep an eye out for that.
That's
Very
a kick-ass figure. Again, I am perplexed. Is that something that NECA made off the bat? Because did Ghostface use a flamethrower in any of the movies, or is that just something fun NECA did?
As far as I know, I know it's from. I know this figure is from part 5. Yeah, the 2022 one.
Yeah.
It's based off of that, but from what one of the commenters said is the mask with the horns. That's from a Dead by Dawn game or Dead by
Okay.
Daylight or something like that. So that's from that. And then I don't know if the flamethrower was there because I haven't seen that movie. I saw like the ending of it, and I couldn't picture where they would have had a flamethrower in that movie.
Yeah.
But
It's just maybe it's just NECA doing something fun and making
yeah,
up their own kind of Ghostface. Um, Jen Mitchell, my
Yes.
girlfriend, my lady, my life. What have you
Your
cooking in
own
your
vagina anytime you want it.
Jesus Christ? Okay, right. Can someone else ask her what she's planning on doing? Please, please.
What I done did a video today talking about my whole thoughts on the Creep series. And my short thing is, guys, if you have Shudder and you haven't seen the Creep tapes, definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. And one thing that really stands out is that it has a lot of great humor. There's some really good kills in it, and Mark Duplass is fucking amazing as always. But there's a lot of great humors. Like there's every episode, there's at least one, and I'm a hard critic when it comes to laughter, but this every episode has at least had one where I generally got a good laugh out of me. And how we end, I'm not going to ruin it for you guys if you haven't seen it, but oh my god, it involves Mark Duplass and his mommy, and I'm not going to go into any more than that, but it's a glorious scene how we end it all. And you guys should definitely check it out if you want to hear more in-depth. That's the latest video that's dropping. Just playing catch up. There's a few movies I want to see before I do my best and worst of the year list, so I'm just playing catch up. And I did not like Cuckoo. There's another video that I just dropped where I talk about how much I fucking hated Cuckoo and thought it was bullshit. If you guys liked it, cool, but for Jen, that movie was bullshit.
Are we going to get your rant-filled, angry, Speak No Evil review?
Yes, well, you are going to get it because they're really like I said, because everyone who watches the channel, like everyone watches my bullshit, but anyone who actually is familiar with my channel, the last 2 videos of the year, we like to do the best and worst. We like to do the worst, purge all the evilness, and end the year on positive with our best. And yeah, your guys are going to get my thoughts on Speak No Evil because, as you guys know, I love the original Speak No Evil, but that fucking remake, McAvoy was really good, but the rest of the movie was bullshit. Why does America need to be coddled? If you've seen the original movie, we don't get a happy ending. Why does America need a happy ending? And why do we need girl power? Jesus fucking Christ, that movie pissed me off. Sorry, guys.
Marty, you should have blown her up. So it's like, we got the rant right here.
No. It's she doesn't need me to blow her up.
You need to give her the girl power that she's upset about right now and put it on the screen.
I'm okay for girl power, but this movie gets, like, in all seriousness, guys, the remake, and I know a lot of people really loved it, but most people have not seen the original, and, like, I get that some people, that's a little too dark, but, like, the woman has to do everything, and, like, their husband is a useless sack of shit, and that's not what the original is about, people, my God! So, yeah. I didn't like Speak No Evil. I did not like Speak No Evil, guys.
Well,
I love the original.
You have a female Terminator in it. She's got to. She's got to
she
be
does everything, and her husband is a little bitch boy. Like, no woman would marry a little bitch boy. I mean, it's cool to show women empowerment and all that, and I'm for that. But her husband is a little bitch boy who hides in a corner, and I'm like, fuck you, dude. I would join McAvoy and kill this worthless piece of shit. So yeah. I don't know why Marty's stomach is so upset.
I look forward to that review. Trench, what do you got?
I haven't got much. There is a video out there. It's a thing, but I might do some more streams. I don't know, but things will happen when they happen. I don't have anything planned. Yeah.
Okay, well, when you do have something coming out, dude, I'll make sure to plug it because it's always cool. Yeah, guys, again, myself, some lunatic from New Mexico sent me a consignment of action figures, so I'm gonna try and get.
Marty.
I don't know, but she fucking went a bit overboard with some of the stuff.
It's a woman, I'll fucking kill her. What hussy is trying to take you away from me? I'll fucking kill her. Does she know who she's fucking
I
messing with?
know.
Marty's
Come here.
my man.
Look, leave her alone. She might
Girl
have very
power.
fucking skewed scruples and a very low moral fucking fortitude, but she's a decent bird all in all. But yeah, guys, again, I'm still kind of fucking dealing with shit with my stomach, so I may not have the biggest kind of output of stuff, but
You always
hopefully-
have a big output, darling.
oh, for the love of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Your health comes first.
Well,
Tell the-
actually,
Tell that to
Oh.
Jen. Jesus Christ. Anywho,
I wish
tonight.
I had a bowl of cream by me right now. I just would be licking it up. Just, I feel I need some visuals.
Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway. Oh Jesus, I'm gonna need fucking. Anyway, right. With that.
Y'all are saints for putting up with me. I apologize if I go a little
No, you're the best. You're the best. I love you, babe.
love
But
you too.
with that, guys, I just want to say a big thanks to everyone who participated. Joey, you're an absolute legend. Larry, as always, a fucking master of a dude. Trench, you're a topper for stopping in. And I suppose I better thank my girlfriend because, like, I'm fucking I'd come across as an asshole. But I love you, babe. You're the best. And also thanks to everyone who synthetic Lamona, don't be giving her ideas. Big thanks to everyone who stopped in. Big
It won't be as good as Marty's real stuff.
Jesus Christ, Jen. Big thanks to Lamona, Mr. Dan, Alucard, who also stopped in, Rob's Vintage Videos, Cara, Master Horror, Dice stopped in, Trenchy obviously came in, Jason Callan, and who else?
The
Eric
guy
stopped
that's
in.
naked in his trench coat that watches us. I think there's a naked guy that watches us.
What, you mean Brian, Kubrick lover? Nah.
Well, yeah, that's
Brian always has a pair of dungarees on. He's grand. He's never naked. But yeah, no, it was awesome. Thanks a million. And make sure I'm going to leave links to these folks when I edit this video, and I'll have links to their channels and stuff. But yeah, thanks a million, guys. And again, sorry I haven't been about as much, just fucking dealing with shit. So yeah, with that, yeah, have a good one. Take care.
Happy
Bye
holidays,
now.
guys.
See you guys. Feel better, Martin. Feel
Bye.
better.